Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right? So much success that you have more than one place to be.
5-3, touchdown, Oregon.
Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at the University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Oregon is headed to the Super Regional.
Big Ten champions, your Oregon Ducks.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It's Athletic Director Tuesday in the Country Financial Studio. Ryan Milano here with you on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. It's a very softball show today because we've got Pooh Wasson here. Pooh, thanks for joining us here in the studio. First off, just how are you, buddy?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Doing great. I'm excited. Great weekend of Oregon Ducks athletics this past weekend, and looking forward to later this week, all the different events that we've got going on.
By my count, I'm pretty sure from when we got off air on Friday to when we got off air yesterday, it was a 16-1 weekend for Oregon, not including an NCAA record. It's a great time to be a Duck around here.
Very impressive. Definitely always a great time to be a Duck. Looking forward to keeping that momentum going through the spring.
Pooh Wasson here, Senior Associate Athletic Director in charge of equipment operations and championships. The senior is new. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate
Congratulations. Some shuffling in the corner offices. Eric Rodell getting the opportunity to go on to Villanova means that you're now Senior Associate Athletic Director. Also means that Lisa Peterson's back. I know a good friend of yours. What's it like getting Lisa back, getting to work with her once again?
Very exciting. Lisa and I go back a long ways, even to our days at Kentucky before we came out here to Oregon. But, you mentioned Eric Rodell, great opportunity for him to go back to his alma mater, to be the athletic director of Villanova. Really sad to see him go, but great opportunity for him, and it was awesome to be able to bring Lisa back. She started with us yesterday, and it's been great. So we're really looking forward to continuing to work with her moving forward.
Fresh with Lisa Peterson, but it feels like a new friend coming around. I didn't get to work with Lisa the first time around, so what's the scouting report for me on Lisa Peterson? What should I know about her, just seeing her around the office every day?
Well, I need to be careful here, but a lot of energy, really, really exciting. I think the one really, really awesome thing about Lisa is she keeps the student-athlete experience first and foremost of her focus, and it really sets the tone, with us that work with the student-athletes every day. And so it's been, like I said, really excited her coming back and, shuffling around. Rob shuffled around some responsibilities and provided some opportunities to some of us. And so it's been really excited to be a part of.
That's really cool. Really cool. We talk about this time in Oregon athletics and so many things going on, but I want to focus here early on Oregon softball because it's a new-look Oregon softball team, both in terms of roster makeup, but also in terms of what they're wearing. And being the sport administrator for Oregon softball, new uniforms, you've got your hands all over the new look of Oregon softball. Just first off, take fans into the entire process, this whole new uniform operation for Oregon softball. When did it start? When did you know that 2025 it was going to be a new look uniform for Oregon softball?
Yeah, so with all of our sports, we really try to bring a new uniform look, refresh every 3 to 4 years. So when that student athlete comes in as a freshman, and once they're graduating 4 to 5 years later, they typically have 2 different looks that they're able to wear. So we identified this past year or the current year as the time that softball would get a rebrand and refresh. We start working on that artwork with Nike's designers typically 24 months out before the time is to unveil them. And we brought on Ariel Carlson, which is now on staff, the softball staff, but when she was a student athlete, to help provide some insight into what the athletes like to wear and then some of the different looks. And so Todd Van Horn and Quinn Van Horn from Nike, they came down and had a lot of listening sessions with Ariel and our staff and Coach Lombardi. And then they come back a few months later and kind of show the first renderings. But that's how it all starts, usually 18 to 24 months in advance. A lot of back and forth. And so it's really cool to kind of, Nike's motto is listen to the voice of the athlete. And as long as they are comfortable in what they're wearing and what they look like in that uniform, and that's what we're here for. And so it was really cool to be a part of that process. And obviously, as the sport administrator for softball, I had a very special interest in how that all played out. And so it was really cool to show that, and really created a lot of waves in the softball world over the last 30 days as we unveiled those different looks. And it was kind of a strategy on every week we were kind of showing something new on creative and social media. So it was really fun to kind of get that feedback from our fans and potential recruits from around the country.
Very cool. May not be done yet. Who knows? But Ariel Carlson, just how does she get involved in the process? Does she come to you? Do you go to her? Like, how do you get a student athlete involved in something like that?
So our equipment managers for each sport will work with the head coach. So in softball, Brooke Burns does a great job for softball and track and tennis. But work with her, and it was like, hey, Brooke, talk to coach, figure out if there's an athlete or two that we want to talk to about being a part of this process. And so Brooke and Coach Lombardi talked to Ariel, and obviously there was some interest there on if she wanted to be a part of the process. And so, like I said, that started 24 months ago, multiple kind of back and forth renderings of the art, and then what you saw here the last 30 days is what Quinn and Todd came up with Ariel.
Talk about the splash that it made on social media. I was seeing it everywhere. NCAA softball, a bunch of uniform pages were posting about it. How much importance does that have to release a new uniform, but then also gain the traction around the rest of the country to say, Oregon's wearing some cool stuff this year?
Yeah, we have a brand, and we have a reputation for pushing the envelope and trying to do things new and keeping things fresh. And so just kind of staying on brand and doing some really cool things with the flying duck pattern inside the duck script on the uniform that hasn't really been done on a consistent basis and at all really in college softball. And our tradition is we don't have a lot of tradition, and so we like to try to keep things fresh and go in a lot of different ways. And and wearing the same uniform, the same colors all the time is just not what we do. And that's okay for those schools that do that. And so always a lot of fun to be a part of, whether it's softball or football or any other sport, to kind of really push the envelope and kind of be tip of the spears, was what we like to say.
Now, I'm glad you talk about that inside the duck lettering, numbers. You got that flying V, the Delta duck, the ones that we have on the back of the studio right here kind of ingrained into the uniform. How does an idea like that come about? Is it pitched? Does someone have to say, that's a little too creative? Or is that just part of what Oregon does, where all the ideas are on the table and it's just, if it looks good, it looks good. Let's do it.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So, Nike is the best in the business at what they do. So they have a series of questions that they'll ask our student athletes and our coaches and our staff. Maybe about, hey, what's your favorite superhero? Or what are some stories growing up that you would, you went to an amusement park or whatever. And so some of those answers will lead to some of the design elements. Like I said, Todd Van Horn and Quinn and the Nike designers, they are the best in the business of what they do. And so I just sit back and take it all in. And when it all comes to life, I'm just always blown away with what they're able to design. And then, to see the reaction on our coach and our student athletes once it's unveiled for the first time, it really makes things special for here, for sure.
No, it's very good. It's very cool. And like they say, look good, play good. And Oregon softball has started off the season playing very strong softball to start off the year. 10-1 on the season. Sport administrator for Oregon softball, Pooh Wasson, with us. Just first off, your holistic view of the first 2 weekends of Oregon softball, watching them play this season.
Yeah, so it was really interesting to see kind of how everything has come together. Coach Lombardi and her staff, they brought in a couple of transfer pitchers, a very strong freshman class, and how that has blended together with some of our upperclassmen has been really cool to watch. And like you said, 10-1, let one get away at Arizona State on Friday, but 10-1, so a very successful start to the season. Back-to-back Big Ten Freshman of the Week honors with Emma Cox and Stephanie Mayaki this past week. I don't know if you saw Stephanie's home runs this past weekend. I think they're still going out of the park there at Grand Canyon. But really, really cool to see them come together. Now, the competition does increase a little bit this week. We have 3 top 25 games at the Mary Nutter down in Palm Springs, and so really excited to see how they continue to come together as a team. But the energy that those freshmen and some of those transfers have brought into the program is contagious. So when we open up the Jane next weekend, I expect it to be a lot of excitement.
It's been very cool to watch the freshmen. You mentioned Steph Maake, 4 home runs on the weekend, 2 of them against Grand Canyon in a game which Oregon won 4-0. They were necessary. This freshman group, it's not like it's just 1 or 2 freshmen playing. It's 4 freshmen playing consistently, batting in the middle of the order. It's a completely new look Oregon softball lineup, and it just, the whole team, from the uniforms to the lineup, it feels fresh this year, doesn't it?
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of energy with that group. Very fun to kind of watch. Looking forward to going down to Palm Springs with them later this week. And checking out some of those games and being around that group. And so real excited, strong staff, strong pitching staff, had a lot of depth in the circle. And so, and then as we transition to the Big Ten and seeing some of those programs, we've got Michigan coming in here, they've won national championships, UCLA coming up here, traditional rival from the Pac-12. And so going to be a great year at James Sanders Stadium, and invite our fans to come out and enjoy it as well.
A youthful group, also a fast group. There's so much about the University of Oregon where the word speed comes up so often. Oregon softball is pacing the nation by 19 stolen bases this year. It's not even close. You get on base, someone's bound to run. That's a fun brand of softball to watch.
It is. I was talking to Coach Lombardi yesterday, just kind of breaking down the weekend. It's a couple things we talked about is beginning of the year, their stolen base goal was 100 stolen bases, and I think they're pushing 60 so far through 2 weekends.
57.
Okay, 57. And so we're like, well, maybe we need to revisit that goal. But and then the other thing about it is just putting the pressure on the other team, knowing that once one of our athletes gets on first base, within a pitch or 2, they're going to second base. And so that just hurries up the defense a little bit, and maybe they throw it into center field. Maybe the catcher doesn't get a great catch on the ball, and before you know it, we're standing up on third, 2 pitches later. And so really exciting brand of softball that they're playing right now, a lot of energy.
Some stolen base stats for you. Kyle Lushar, 19 for 22 in stolen bases. The rest of the team is a perfect 38 for 38 on stolen bases. Oregon leads the country by 16 swiped bags, leads the Big Ten by 31 stolen bases. This team is successful on 95% of their opportunities to steal. It creates a real team identity, and it's going to be necessary because, as you alluded to earlier, the competition ramps up this weekend at the Mary Nutter. A lot of challenging opponents coming up. A few teams inside the top 10, all of them regional opponents from last season. It's going to be a competitive tournament coming up this weekend.
Yeah, there's a couple of SEC programs we're playing, and then we've got Cal and Utah, past Pac-12 teams that we're playing. But, yeah, the competition ramps up, but we're really excited to see kind of where we stack up against some other top 25 teams. I think we are 19 in both the polls that came out today. So we're right there with them. So it'll be fun to watch and be a part of it.
The competition ramps up down in Cathedral City, Palm Springs, California for the Mary Nutter. It's a great environment getting around the softball fan. It feels like the Mary Nutter is like the prestigious softball tournament. Every year, Oregon's always invited, and it just feels like that is the place to be in the preseason for Oregon softball.
Oh, yeah, it really is. It is the premier pre-conference tournament traditionally down in Palm Springs, the Mary Nutter. Yeah, we've been going there every February that I'm aware of. But yeah, the competition is real, and it's really cool because there's four fields right there next to each other, and you just hear the roar from the fields if there's a big play made. And so really exciting. I was talking to some of our athletes recently, and it's a lot of athletes from other teams that are there that they grew up playing travel ball with. And so it's fun. You'll see the parents interacting and the athletes interacting before and after the games because they used to be on teams together. Now they're representing their schools. But really cool. I think it's a destination for softball fans in the Southern California area to go out there every weekend every February on that weekend and enjoy some great quality softball.
Pooh Wasson with us, Senior Associate Athletic Director, and there is a lot more to touch on the equipment front, on the championships front. There's a lot going on. It's crossover season. He's with us for another segment when we return after this on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano here with you with Pooh Wasson, Senior Associate Athletic Director in charge of all things equipment, all things championships. And, well, what that means is that when there's an overflow of equipment, it means we have a surplus sale. And I think it's everybody's favorite holiday around here. And the surplus sale's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, so we have it scheduled for Saturday, May the 3rd. It's going to look pretty similar to what it has in the past. There will be a benefit to our season ticket holders and DAF donors with priority access. We'll have a lot more information coming throughout the spring. But, yeah, pencil it in. Saturday, May the 3rd at the Michovsky Center. There's a lot of construction going on with the Mo 2.0 or the 2.0 project. Sorry. So we'll provide some information on how to access the Mo at that point. But we got a little bit of time. Donovan Rogers from our equipment staff will be he's leading the efforts on our side for putting the surplus sale together. But, yeah, that's Saturday the 3rd.
Still in the very early goings of it, but just what preparation has there been up until this point for the surplus sale? What ducks do you need to get in a row, if you don't mind my asking? What ducks do you need to get in a row for the surplus sale coming up in a few months?
Yeah, so we work with our facility staff to make sure that we're identifying the right day as far as scheduling is concerned. So we work with them to make sure that's the right day. We usually try to do it like a week after the spring game. And it works out well in May because it's right at the end of kind of near the end of the competition year, and then before a lot of the new Nike product starts arriving in June. And so just a lot of planning that goes into it. And Donovan, he'll gather up some some of our athletic staff, and we have 75 student managers across all of our sports, and the majority of them will work that day as well if they're not traveling with a team. And so just getting that on their calendars and making sure that we're aligned, like I said, with the facility staff and the event staff, and then working with the construction team as well, just to make sure that we're thinking about all the different elements that are happening outside on Leo Harris Parkway and the construction, and we'll provide that information as we get closer.
How early do people start asking you about it? When's the next surplus sale going to be?
Usually the year before at the previous surplus sale. And so, yeah, it's usually that first Saturday in May. There's been some years that we've had to adjust it a week or two based on the scheduling. But yeah, it's a conversation that happens kind of year round. But we try to get it there early May.
Pooh with us, in charge of all things equipment operations and championships. And the championships we know are going to be in Eugene. The track and field championships at Hayward. It's going to be another stellar summer at Hayward Field. Big Ten championships, NCAA championships. Where are we at in terms of preparing for the championships that are going to come up towards the end of the outdoor track season?
Yeah, you never really stop planning. You have the NCAA every year. And so there's continuous planning and conversations taking place. But we really ramp those up after the holidays when we come back in January. And so we've had our staff having monthly meetings about NCAAs as well as Big Tens. I had an NCAA meeting with the NCAA today with a lot of our internal staff, and then have one tomorrow with the Big Ten. And so really excited to have the Big Ten track championships here. It's really interesting because we could have just as many student athletes for the Big Ten as we have for the NCAAs if they bring their full complement of roster out here. So it could be around 1,000 student athletes across all those teams. So really excited to have that in the middle of May, and then the NCAAs a month later. But Hayward Field, obviously a great venue. And always fun to watch those student athletes and coaches that have not been here before walk in for the very first time with their phone on social media, taking in just kind of the entire atmosphere of Hayward Field. So it's always fun to be a part of that.
Now, I think I'll speak for everybody when I say that Track Town is the right place for the track championships. Doesn't matter which championships it is, but it is a new conference for Oregon, and Hayward Field has been the longtime host of the Pac-12 championships, but it is a new conference in the Big Ten. How much of a given was it that Hayward Field was going to be the host of the Big Ten track championships?
Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of conversations go on between the conference office and Rob Mullins and bringing it here this year, but I think when the conversation started, we raised our hand and was like, absolutely, we'd love to host it here, bring those fans out, and especially the first full year in the Big Ten, it just made sense to have the track championships here, and we're absolutely looking forward to it.
A whole bunch of track stars will be at Hayward Field as we continue to move forward towards the end of track and field season. Indoor track and field season's going on. Outdoor track and field season's coming up. And it feels like this month of February, more than any month, I mean, maybe you can compare it to November in the fall, but this month of February, more than any month, it feels like there's just so many things going on. You go to GoDucks.com, the composite schedule, and it's 8 events this day, 11 events this day, 12 events the next day. That puts a lot of strain on the equipment operations staff. There's a lot of people that have to be a lot of different places to make sure a lot of different jerseys are clean for a lot of different student athletes.
Yeah, so this is one of those months that the winter sports are right in the middle of their season, and then the spring sports are starting up. And so, yeah, you're right. So, our equipment staff, as well as the athletic training staff, nutrition staff, all those support units that support our programs, it's all hands on deck right now. Like, as you said, multiple events a year or a day going on right now. Really, really exciting time. And our equipment staff's a part of it. Like you said, cleaning uniforms and planning and working with our operations staff just to make sure everything's aligned. But yeah, we've got John Mitchell does baseball, but he also does acro, and so both of them are competing this weekend, right?
Sometimes at the same time, like they were on Sunday.
At the same time. Same thing with, Brooke. She does track and tennis and softball, and sometimes all three of those are happening at the same time. And so we've got a great staff in place to manage that. But like I said, that's the same case for all the support units. All hands on deck. And is focused on the athlete experience and making sure that they're being supported in the way that we expect them to be supported and can compete on the field of play.
So what does a day look like when there's an equipment manager who has multiple different sports that are going on the same day? What does a day like that look like for an equipment manager like that?
I think it's a lot of planning. We have two wonderful interns that help our staff, and then like I mentioned earlier, 75 student managers, and so it's a lot of planning, a lot of organizing, some just great communication to make sure everyone is doing what they need to be doing to make sure that our athletes and coaches aren't impacted by multiple things happening at once. And staff does a great job, absolutely wonderful job. We got the right people in the right roles. And their focus is just making sure that the athletes are taken care of, the coaches are taken care of, and it's always a good day when the equipment staff is just unnoticed. And so that's what we take a lot of pride in, that, to making sure that they have what they need to be successful, and we're just kind of in the background, the team behind the team.
We try to notice the equipment staff on the broadcast, but there are even opportunities like on Sunday, a player's pitch comm for baseball, it didn't work. All of a sudden, 3 seconds later, he's back on the mound. It was like a NASCAR pit crew exchange. John Mitchell was ready with a new pitch comm, got it right to the pitcher, and was ready to go. That's what it's like for equipment managers.
Yeah, you try to plan for the unexpected, and make sure that there's very little impact, if any, to the athlete. Just like on football, if a helmet happens to come off or a cleat comes off, you got the equipment staff right there trying to get them ready to go. Just like a NASCAR pit stop, like you said, John and Brooke, if something goes wrong with the pitch comm, they're right there with an extra one. I think each of them have an extra one on their wrist, and they're ready to go just like that.
Pooh Wasson with us, making the trip down with Oregon softball to the Mary Nutter this weekend. Touched on a lot. What else did we miss? What else do fans need to know?
Oh, I don't know. I think a lot of excitement this time of year. You got men's and women's basketball. A lot of big games coming up. So hopefully they can continue the momentum they've gotten over the last couple of weeks. Everyone's playing well. I mean, I guess the freshest thing is yesterday, Derek Radley and his women's golf team broke all kinds of school records.
Unbelievable.
It was unbelievable. I was tracking that on my phone yesterday, and I texted him last night. I was like, oh, my goodness. We won by 28 strokes or something like that. And top three, three of our student athletes were top three in the tournament. And so a lot of great things to like about the Ducks right now, that's for sure.
We'll have more context on all of the records that women's golf broke yesterday coming up later on the show today. It was impressive, to say the least, for Derek Radley's crew. Pooh, thanks for making us all look good.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Pooh Wasson, Senior Associate Athletic Director. All right, we're still talking softball. Missy Lombardi coming up after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back here in the Country Financial Studio, just had Pooh Wasson on the show, and now Missy Lombardi, head coach of Oregon softball, joining us. Coach, isn't it great when the sport administrator is in charge of equipment around here? Look good, play good, and you guys look good all the time.
All the time. We look good, play good, we feel good. Pooh is unbelievable at what he does, and we love that he is our leader.
Going down to the Mary Nutter this weekend, coming off of the first few tournaments on the road, just this last one in Arizona, go 5-1 on the weekend. Overall, general thoughts on how the team did at the Littlewood Classic?
Overall, I thought we did well. You know, there was one game we wanted to get, but overall, we think about the weekend before and the weekend now. Are we better than we were, from the previous weekend? And absolutely.
I think it's hard to tell the story of the first 11 games of this team without talking about the freshmen. There have been 4 standout freshmen for your team that have dominated to this point in play. How, just as the freshman class as a whole, how do you get the freshmen ready for their first collegiate action to start out the way that this class has started for your team offensively?
Well, what I think is pretty cool is that they do a really good job of coming in ready. The type of schedule that they play all summer long and on the national stage, I think it makes a big difference. So when they come in, that allows us to just really enhance upon them versus starting from scratch and building them up. It's about us being able to enhance upon them, which is great. It allows us to move faster.
Freshmen hit 7 of Oregon's 9 home runs over the weekend. 4 of them were from Stephanie Maake, who hit 4 home runs, was Big Ten Freshman of the Week. Just how has she bolstered your lineup? What have you seen from her in the first few games of this season?
She's a student of the game. She loves to hit. The work that she puts in, and just her mindset. Like she is very calm. She knows what she wants, and she takes a big swing.
Adds a real power threat to your order, doesn't it?
It does. It does. You can see these guys are all doing a good job of protecting each other, and I think that's an advantage to us.
How about Riley McCoy? Gets in the lineup, has a successful offensive weekend. Seems like all the freshmen having successful offensive weekends, but Riley as well had a really strong weekend down in Arizona.
Huge. And we talk to these guys a lot about getting your opportunities, and she's been getting opportunities and putting the work in, and then she got her opportunity, did something with it, got another opportunity, did something with it. And just watching her at the plate this past weekend, you would not look at her and think that she is a freshman. She is very calm, very specific to what she wants at the plate, and takes a big swing as well.
Emma Cox, not only her job offensively to help out the lineup, but also to manage the pitching staff as the catcher behind the plate. Just her job through the first few weekends as a freshman behind the dish.
Double everybody else with what she's doing behind the plate and catching the pitchers, and then on top of that, what she's bringing to the plate with her offense. Very mature. Again, strong work ethic, wants to be great, puts in the time, loves to compete. I feel like I could just kind of be a broken record with all of them. I love how they compete and what they're willing to do to be great.
Kalen Jones as well, not only offensively, but also on the base paths as a speed threat. Not the only speed threat on this team, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Kalen as well. The 4 freshmen combined for 53 of the 97 runs batted in for the team this season. The entire class as a whole, we talked a little bit off the air a few weeks ago, but this is the type of freshman class that can help bolster a program for the next 3-4 years of Oregon softball, just the way that they have been performing early in the season. And to have a group of solidified freshmen youngsters that are all growing together, that's important not just for this season, but for the longevity of this program, isn't it?
It is. It's very important. And I think about freshmen coming in and needing them to be impact players right away. And I think this group, you're really seeing that from this group. We talked a lot in the past about having this big senior class that we lost and basically passing the torch. And you can see that right now. So I love what they're doing. They're continuing to compete. They're only going to get better. And the energy and competitiveness that they bring to this team, it's been fun to watch.
On the base paths, we mentioned before the season, 100 stolen bases is the goal.
Yeah.
You're at 57 stolen bases, 11 games through the year. Are you surpassing even your wildest expectations for how deadly your team was going to be on the base paths this early in the season?
We've been pretty deadly on the base path. I guess I knew we were going to steal a lot. If you would have told me we'd have this many at this point, I don't know if I would have thought that. But seeing what this group can do day in and day out, I am not surprised. So we have this 100 countdown, and every time they steal a base, we'll talk in the dugout. Remington will say the number and where we're at. So these guys are on a mission. They want to get that 100, and I think they're going to get more than that.
Let me put some numbers to it for you to put some context to it. Kai Lushar, 19 for 22 on stolen bases. The rest of the team is a perfect 38 for 38 on stolen bases. Team-wide, it's a 95% clip stealing bags this season. You lead the NCAA by 16 stolen bases. You lead the Big Ten by 31 stolen bases. Which one of those, if any of those stats, stand out to you as impressive for this team in that group in how you guys wanted to attack your base running this season?
What I love about it the most is that we constantly have runners in scoring position. That's the most important thing, is that we're taking singles, we're taking bunts for a hit, we're taking slaps for a hit, and we are now creating doubles out of them. And for us as a team, once we get runners in scoring position, we're confident that we can drive them in. So just constantly looking up and seeing that we have a runner on second and seeing how we're scoring early in the game, I think is really important for this team.
And what it can do is it can really help a pitching staff, because all of a sudden, top of the first inning, Kai Lushar gets on with a single, steals second, ground ball. All of a sudden, it's a 1-0 advantage. That helps a pitching staff having a lead before they even trot out to the circle for the first time.
It does. We talk a lot about bouncing our momentum off of the offense to the defense and back and forth, getting a run and then coming on to defense and having a shutdown inning, and then from there, defense passing it back to offense. So it's been cool to see when these guys are bouncing back and forth like that.
Now, talking about the pitching staff, this pitching staff, really impressive. An 0.90 ERA in 6 games over the weekend. Just the pitching staff as a whole, how they performed down in Arizona this week. What were you impressed by?
I thought they did a better job of limiting the free passes and going after the hitters and allowing our defense to work behind them. We've got a really good defense. We will gladly take the strikeouts, but let your defense work behind you. And you could see that this weekend. You got to see Taylor in her first appearances this weekend, and I thought she was really, really impressive. Thought she commanded the zone well. Really loved how she changed speeds. But what I like about this staff is they're all so very different, and they are each other's number one fans. They understand that in order for us to get to where we need to get to, we need number ones throughout the staff, not just a number one. And they've embraced that. They're a special group.
That family unit, that cohesivity, it helps keep morale up throughout a long season. How much does it help someone like you, and how fun is it for someone like you to see that camaraderie amongst your staff as a whole?
I think it's really important. We talk a lot about team first, and what you are doing. Are you putting the team first? And you can really see that with this group. They love each other. They play hard for each other. They they compete for each other. This is a special group. I have said that a lot, but I just believe it. I really like who they are and where they're going.
How about Lindsey Grine? 12 strikeouts. She got 17 outs against Belmont. 12 of them were strikeouts, the most for a Duck in about 3 years in terms of striking out an opponent. Just her individual performance there and how she's been able to put together a full body of work throughout this early part of the season.
Yeah, did a great job of commanding the zone and just spinning her pitches. She has great velo, great change of speed, but when she really spins her pitches, that's when you get to see the swing and misses happen, and it was nice to see that on Sunday.
Doesn't get any easier now, facing an even higher quality of opponent going down to the Mary Nutter. Just overall, it's been a frequent location for your team. Just the Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic, what type of opportunity does it present?
We love Palm Springs and going to the Mary Nutter. It's just you're going to play great competition in every single game. For us, it's about just continuing to do what we do and not doing anything different. We're very, very caught up in our process and understanding our identity and what we need to do to be successful. And I think it's just continuing to do that this weekend.
You look at the weekend schedule, it starts off on Thursday at 10 a.m. against Cal. Then it's a doubleheader, Tennessee. Those are two really tough opponents off the bat. Utah and San Diego State on Friday, closing it up with Missouri on Saturday. All of those teams made it to the regional round last year. It's a tough field that you're going against. Just the increased competition level throughout the season, how it'll prepare you for Big Ten play. And are you excited to play top quality teams game after game and multiple times a day coming up this weekend?
Yes, we're very excited. We're really looking forward to it. Like I said, I feel like each weekend has prepared us for the next weekend. So I'm looking forward to our group and seeing what they're going to do this weekend. I love what they're doing. I love how they're playing. I think they're playing at a very, very high level. So it's just about going into Palm Springs and keeping it simple and consistent of what we've been doing up to this point.
Does the keys to success change against a higher quality team, or is it just play Oregon softball?
Play Oregon softball.
Coach Lombardi going down, Palm Springs coming up, first game, 10 o'clock. The friends from KWVA student radio station will make the trip. It'll be down there, also televised on Flow College softball. But it's going to be an exciting weekend against top quality teams. Coach, thanks always for stopping in.
Thank you.
Coach Lombardi. Stepping aside, we'll be back right after this on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Ma, is this how you feed a hamster?
I think so.
Is my homework right?
I think so.
Is, this milk still good?
I think so.
When it comes to parenting, sometimes it's okay to think you know. But when it's something as important as your child's car seat, don't just think. No. Double check if your child is in the right seat for their age and size. It'll help protect them in a car crash. Don't just think. No by visiting nhtsa.gov/the right seat. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio on a Tuesday, Duck Insider. I'm Milano here with you, and on Sunday, Oregon men's basketball got a 75-57 convincing win over Rutgers. Yesterday on the show, we heard from Kevin McKenna, TJ Bamba, a couple of the radio interviews. Now we get to hear Tony Stubblefield, who was on the podium for the first time. I mentioned yesterday, Dan Allman just a touch under the weather, as some of the other coaches do the post-game media for him. And Tony Stubblefield getting the podium debut at Oregon, his thoughts of what was a very successful game for Oregon men's basketball. Coming down the home stretch of this regular season, Tony Stubblefield's thoughts of Oregon's Sunday win.
So if somebody told you walking in that they combined for 9 of 27 and 2 of 12 from 3, would you signed up for that level of performance from Harper and Bailey and containing them?
Well, them are two really good players. They're dynamic players that can change the game really quickly. And I just think our guys were really locked in on the scouting report and really focused defensively, and they did a good job on them. But it was a team effort defensively just to be able to stop those guys because they're so dynamic that, not just one guy can get that done. So we were just fortunate. Our guys were really locked in. And I thought they did a good job on those two guys, but they're very talented players that obviously will be very impactful and playing at the next level, I'm sure, very soon.
What are the changes at halftime from a defensive standpoint? Because they shot 56% in the first half and then cut that in half in the second half.
Something Coach has been really harping on the last couple of days in practice is putting a full 40 minutes together. I thought we've done a good job, the last couple of games of playing 20 in the first half and coming out a little sluggish in the second half. So I think it was more so what Coach Altman had been preaching over the last couple of days is, hey, this is a 40-minute game that we got to come out with a lot of energy to start the second half and put it together as well. And again, I think a lot of that's got to do with the defense being on the opposite end. They've got to show some leadership and communicate defensively on their end to be able to carry out the game plan.
Was the game plan to just kind of let everyone but Bailey and Harper score, or is that just kind of how it turned out?
I don't necessarily know if that was the game plan, but, obviously Bailey and Harper were both averaging 19 points a game, so that's a big part of it. But it was just for us to get better. That's been Coach's message for the last week is we got to continue to get better. We weren't taking the steps that we felt we need to be taking, 3 or 4 weeks during the course of the last 3 or 4 weeks. So we needed to get better as a team, and it begins and ends with us on the defensive end and rebounding the basketball. And that's something I thought we really focused in and carried out the game plan well today.
5 different Ducks had multiple threes tonight. Was that a game plan change, or was that just shots falling?
Again, sharing the basketball, making the extra pass, the ball moving and not sticking. And I thought our guys did a great job of moving the basketball today. And we got guys that can shoot the basketball. We just got to get the ball moving. And we did a good job of sharing the basketball. To have 16 assists, I thought our guys did a really good job of that.
Well, you've certainly seen it from Nate before, but in terms of just all-around contribution, double-double, plus 5 blocks, and the efficiency of 28 minutes, I would argue it's not just his performance of the season, it might be one of the best games of his career. What about this matchup just allowed him to have that level of efficiency?
Nate has been putting the work in. He's been showing up to practice early. He's been staying late. He's been really locked in and focused, and it's paying off for him. And again, when he plays like he did today, that really helps our team. And we need more of that Nate. But he's a good basketball player, and he's really putting the work in, and it's paying off for him.
TJ's offense-defensive performance, guarding Bailey, what he did there, and then also a career high of 6 assists.
TJ has proven that he can be a really good defender. Again, I thought he did a good job on Bailey today. He did a good job of moving the basketball and getting the ball moving. But just from a defensive standpoint, I think that carries over to helping him on the offensive side of the basketball as well. And I think that's energy for our team when you see a guy like that really fighting over screens and getting after it and getting deflections and getting steals. I think that carries over to the rest of the team.
What do you have to say about Jackson's performance the last 2 games?
Again, he's a really good basketball player, and he's playing well. And we need Jackson to be playing at this level, especially at this time of the year. So again, couldn't be happier for what he's doing out there. And again, just not even offensively, but he's doing a good job defensively as well, because you know, night in and night out in this league, you're playing against some really good players on that other end.
The last couple of days this week, Tony, you can just change the feeling, the mood, the vibe, whatever you want to call it, the intangible of, I mean, these were two critical swing games for you guys, and you get them both, and you got another one coming, but the difference in where you were a week ago, needing these wins desperately, and now getting them and putting yourself in a better spot in the conference race, just how different a feeling is it compared to 5-6 days ago?
Well, if you've ever been around Coach Altman, you know he's not going to let you get too comfortable. So we're already locked in and focused on, you know, Iowa and this road trip that we have. But again, you know, as far as, you know, our guys, you know, they're feeding off of it. And then, again, this time of year is when you want to be playing your best basketball. But this is a very brutal league, and now we got to get ready to go play Iowa, who's a team that can really score the basketball, that play well in transition. So you don't have much time to rest and just be, you know, happy about the success that we've had the last couple of games. You got to get ready for the next one. But, you know, our guys are in a good place, but we just got to continue to get better as a team.
You talked about that, getting better. Where has this team gotten better this week than you're on the road now?
I think we've gotten a little bit better defensively, and we've gotten better sharing the basketball and rebounding. And them are the main areas of focus for us. We feel like we have enough talent, but we got to play the right way to maximize that talent. And again, it begins on the defensive end and rebounding the basketball and moving the basketball on the offensive side.
Tony Stubblefield, after Oregon men's basketball's convincing victory on Sunday against Rutgers, we're coming down the stretch run of this season for Oregon men's basketball. 5 games left in Oregon's regular season. Goes on the road at Iowa, at Wisconsin this weekend. 2 tough teams. Both are going to be around quad 1. The Wisconsin game will certainly be a quad 1 win. The Iowa game will flex either way depending on how the Hawkeyes finish the season. But 2 tough road games. Iowa coming up on Wednesday at 5:30. 5 o'clock pregame on the Oregon Sports Network. Tomorrow's going to be a doubleheader. Women start at 5, men start at 5:30. Have Joey in one ear, Chris in the other. That's my plan. It's going to be fun watching Oregon basketball all day tomorrow. Try to continue to close their stretch run of the season as both teams trying to stack momentum into the respective tournament plays. Got to get another timeout. When we return, it's full crossover season. Going back to the Diamond. After this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. By NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds.
Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Oregon baseball finished up their opening weekend 3-1 on the season, preparing for next week against Rhode Island. After the game on Sunday, Carter Garate giving some of his philosophy, what he's thinking about when he's out on the field. Carter Garate, what his thoughts were after the game on Sunday.
Weekend, just what are your first takeaways from you guys, winning this series?
Yeah, there's good and I wouldn't say bad, but things to definitely improve on over the weekend. Obviously going 3-1 and expecting to go undefeated, but we're going to take this weekend to learn. I think that's the biggest thing we can do this weekend is learn from what we can improve on and work on that throughout the week.
Walls has really spoken to how much of a leader you are for the infield. We can hear you up in the press box shouting at the pitchers in a big moment or after a tough at-bat for them. But what's that kind of mean for you this year?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I've taken as a responsibility from a guy in the infield, and it's not just me, it's us as a group in the infield, and it's the job that I feel like we should all be able to do, and just encouraging our guys. We need to be up there with him. He's on a mound up there kind of by himself, but we want him to feel like we're right behind him. So.
Can you talk a bit about the depth this infield has with guys like Jack and Ryan and Maddox and yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. We got a good group of guys. We got a lot of guys that work hard. We got guys that push each other, and this group has unlimited ability. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do with it.
Carter Garate talking a little bit about what the infield's thinking about when they're back behind a pitcher. Playing some defense for Oregon baseball. Got 4 more games coming up at PK Park this weekend. Just closed up yesterday, Oregon women's golf. I mentioned on the show, individual winner in Suvachayev and Achaitham, also team winner for Oregon in historic fashion. The Ducks broke the program record for total score versus par and total score total in a 54-hole tournament with a 34 under 818 strokes across the 3 rounds. All 3 of Oregon's rounds would have been the lowest individual round for any team in the tournament this weekend. Oregon capped its dominant 8 under with an 18 under on Monday, 6 strokes better than the previous program record for the lowest team score in an individual round. It was a strong weekend for Oregon women's golf, to say the least. Had Missy Lombardi on the show today, Pooh Wasson talking a lot of softball on today's show. Tomorrow, getting you geared up for a basketball doubleheader. Let's go, Ducks, everybody.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.